Alright, so you guys have definitely heard of the Kia Stinger. When it first came out, this thing was absolutely incredible and for very good reason. With Albert Bierman moving from BMW's M Division to Kia, this was the very first vehicle that he designed with rear-wheel drive, a twin-turbo V6, and all the goodies that you would want in an enthusiast sport sedan. Now, the big question is, it's been a year since all the coverage of this car has been out, and what I want to know is this still as hyped up and as exciting as it was when it first came out? Alright, so just to give you guys an idea of what to expect in this review, right now I'm going to cover the entire exterior of the car. After that, we're going to jump into the inside. I'm going to show you literally everything from the trunk space, under the hood, all the features, and then we're going to take it for a drive at the end. So starting with the exterior of this specific Stinger GT, they sent me this color, which is probably my favorite color out of the options you have on the GT. This is called ceramic silver, and it is a really cool color. It almost looks like an off clay looking color. It's very, very unique. It reminds me a lot of the chalk color that like Porsche uses or the Nardo gray that Audi uses. It's a very similar color and it looks fantastic on this Stinger. Now, coming to the front of the Stinger GT, I do apologize for the radiator, the fan going on, because it is very, very hot, so I did start it. But coming to the front, I love the way this front looks. It's just very, very aggressive. And from every single angle, this thing really does look very, very sharp. I love the daytime running lights. Very simplistic, yet they add a nice detail to the front of the car. So when you see this thing coming up in your rear view mirror, it looks properly aggressive. Now, the other thing I do like is the grille. So if I get a little bit closer, hopefully you guys can see this. So the front grille is going to be like a dark chrome. So it's not going to be your typical bright chrome, it's a little bit darker, and I do like that Kia took the time to do that. Now you can see this little plate right here. It's not super obvious right now, but if I go off to the side, you can definitely see it. I do wish Kia did a little bit of a better job hiding that, but that's just one small complaint, to be honest with you guys. Then as you come down, I like these little fins right here. I think they look pretty sharp. And then over to the side, you are going to have functional vents. So these side vents are going to be functional. They're going to feed air around the wheel wells and just help create that nice air curtain. One other thing about the front is, of course, you do have full LED lights here up front. Literally every single thing about this car in terms of the lighting is going to be LEDs. So it looks really crisp at night, very, very high quality. I even love the turn signal. It's got this really cool like multi-LED pattern, and I just really dig the way it looks. Now, as we come up on the hood a little bit, one thing I do want to point out is, though the hood looks fantastic, I love these subtle lines right here. I think they look really good, and I do love this line coming right above the headlight. I think it's a really nice look. But man, these vents are going to be fake. Don't know why they put fake vents there, considering the fact that all the front vents right here are going to be real. I just don't understand why you couldn't just like maybe drill some holes in these things to make them functional. So I'll get a little bit closer. You guys can actually see that they are non-functional. So you guys can see there, no functionality whatsoever. It does look great, but like I said, I do wish they would have taken that time to actually make those functional vents. Now coming to the wheels, these wheels are going to be 19-inch wheels. I like the way that they look. I like that sort of Y design that it has. Personally, I would love blacked out wheels. I just think it would look cool with this specific color. However, I do really like these wheels, and I think that they do fit the car pretty well for being stock wheels. They are wrapped in Michelin tires, and I believe these are 225 40s. Let me get a little bit closer. Hopefully you guys can see this. Yeah, 225 40s right there. And you do have Brembo brakes right behind there. You can have Brembo brakes here up in the front. And this chrome piece right here, I like how it's the same dark chrome, but this is going to be a functional vent as well. So like I said, you have mostly functional vents around this vehicle, so I do appreciate that, and you guys can actually see the functionality right here. As you come up to the mirror, usually I don't cover the mirror, but it literally is like a mirror on the back side of the mirror. It's so reflective and you can see so much in it, and I just thought it was a really unique feature right there. You do have a staggered setup with the tires, so you actually have 255 35s here in the rear with those Michelin tires. All right, so coming to the back quarter panel, there are two things I'm not a huge fan of. The first one is gonna be this side marker right here. I think that it would have looked a lot better if Kia would have gotten rid of it, but you know, to each their own. Some people like it. I don't hate it. I just, like I said, think it would look better without it. Then as you come down, you are going to have a fake vent right here, which is pretty crazy. But the good news is that there's only 2 fake vents around the entire car. Most of the other vents are going to be functional vents, which I can actually appreciate. Now, the tail lights back here are going to be full LEDs, just like the front. So it actually has a really crisp look to it. It almost looks Maserati-like from afar, and I just think it does a really good job of making this car look more exotic. So aside from that, you are going to have your Stinger badge, your Kia badge, your GT badge right there. And one other detail I noticed is that the top part of the, I guess you can call it a spoiler here, it kind of protrudes over the light, so it makes it look like it sort of has this built-in spoiler look from the side. Not sure if it actually functions in that manner, but it was just something I noticed. Then as you come down here, you are going to have this gloss black area with this tiny diffuser right down here. I love the way the overall back end of the car looks. I do think that Kia did a great job of making it look very sporty. And then your exhaust tips are not going to be physically connected to the exhaust pipes themselves, but it does have a pretty decent sound. I'll let you guys go ahead and take a listen to that. All right, so here's your key for the Kia Stinger. So it's gonna say Kia right here. Very nice packaging. You have this faux leather here, but it's very convincing. You even have some stitching going right there. And then as you turn it, I love this side of the key. So you're gonna have your unlock, you're gonna have your trunk release, you're gonna have your panic button, and then right on top, you have your lock. So it's really cool. It almost makes you feel like you're like launching a bomb or something. It's really nice. But to use the key to get inside is simplistic way to get inside the vehicle. You're gonna do that, and then when you lock it, the mirrors are going to fold in just like that. You can also use this button here on the door. You're gonna press it, 2 beeps is gonna mean it's unlocked. All right, so once the door is open, you are treated to a very impressive interior. So first of all, I do wanna point out that the color of this leather is stunning. It looks almost like a red wine kind of look. It's not too bright red, but it's not too dark red where it almost looks like a burgundy color. I think it's the perfect tone in my opinion. But if you come a little bit closer, you are going to have a little bit of same color stitching going right there, so you guys can see that red contrast stitching right there. This top part is going to be soft touch, which is nice. As you come over here, you are going to have your door handle, and then this part here, it is going to be fake. It's not going to be real aluminum, but if you really look at it close up, it'd be hard to convince me that it wasn't real aluminum if I didn't already know. Then you have your speaker right here for your Harman Kardon sound system. You do have 2 memory seat settings. As you come down, you have another speaker there for your Harman Kardon sound system. More of that beautiful red leather, and you're going to have a silver accent coming right down here. This is even going to be really soft, very, very plush. A little area here where I have my phone in. And then you are going to have all of your controls for your windows, your mirrors, door locks, things like that, as well as a little bit of cubby space down here. And then your bass speaker is going to be located right there. Now here on the bottom, you are going to have an aluminum door sill. It's not going to illuminate, it's just a little bit of a nice accent right there. Going to have full aluminum pedals. All of your seat controls here off to the left side of the seat, like normal. You even have a thigh extender, so you guys can see the thigh extender is extended right there. And the leather quality is fantastic, so it's got a nice supple feel to it, very plush. A little bit on the firm side, perforations coming here through the middle. Very nice seat bolster, so I do like how aggressively bolstered these are from the factory. But let's go ahead and hop in and we'll check out the rest of the car. All right, so shutting the door on the Stinger. Nice solid door shut. I did have my phone in there, so I apologize. Let's do that again. It actually gets pretty quiet when you shut the door as well. Now, since this is push start, very simple, foot on the brake, I'm gonna push that to start. Nice. So I'm gonna have the AC a little bit on the high side because it is only 91 degrees today, if you guys can even see that. 91 degrees, so very, very hot today. All right, so starting with the steering wheel, I really like the steering wheel, very sporty design. It's got some nice 10 and 2 notches as well. I do love how it says GT down here at the bottom, with a little bit of piano black going above that. Now, you do have perforations over to the left. You're gonna have like your smooth leather here on the bottom, and you're gonna have smooth leather right here up top as well. Kia logo there in the middle. Over to the left side, you have all of your media controls. So you're going to have all of your volume commands, previous, next, voice commands, different modes, AM, FM, XM, phone commands right here. Then over to the right is all of your cruise control settings, because this does have adaptive cruise control as well. Right behind here, you have your paddles for your 8-speed automatic. Really nice feeling paddles. And if you turn the steering wheel, you are going to have automatic wipers over here to the right. Hopefully my camera will focus. There we go. And you're going to have automatic lights over here to the left. Now, this screen here in the middle, let me try to brighten things up a little bit for you guys. But this screen is very simplistic, very easy to use. So you have your tach to the left, speedometer to the right. It's pretty much the extent of it. The only digital part is directly in the middle, which you can use this button right here to scroll through the screen, as well as this little toggle right there. So if I focus back in, I can go through all my different modes, adjust all my different settings, what I want to see. I can adjust my heads up display right here, and then I can see things like a G-force meter, my oil temp, where my torque is at, my turbo pressure, and then you have like a lap timer, and it goes back to your G-force meter. So pretty cool stuff, and I just love the simplicity of it, especially if you're the type of person that likes a simple gauge setup. Then moving down here to the left, you're going to have some more controls. So you have your interior illumination. You're going to have your lane keep right there, if you guys can see that. And then right to the right of the lane keep, you have your blind spot. Then you're going to have your gas tank release, and then your hatch release right there. Coming up, you've got a vent there. Now, one thing is, you guys will see in just a second, you have circular vents here in the middle. I do wish it would have been all circular vents, so I wish this would have been a circular vent as well, but they did not do that, so I do wish that they did, just to satisfy my OCD, I guess. As you come up here to the top, you are going to have your heads-up displays. Hopefully you guys can see that floating away right there. There we go. So I do have mine green, and the cool part is you can actually adjust the color on your heads-up display as well, so I think it's pretty neat. Moving along throughout the cabin, you are going to have a speaker right back here. Of course, you have your screen there, and I love this 2-tier design right here. Real smooth leather coming there. You're gonna have soft touch up here on the dash as well. Very nice quality stuff. And your screen is really easy to use. I like the simplicity of it. I mean, it's pretty much the same with all Kia Hyundai products. It's pretty much the same interface. Very simplistic. You do have Apple Carplay on here as well, so you guys can see Apple Carplay right here working, doing its thing. Here's those circular vents I was telling you guys about. Very Mercedes-Benz like. I love the way that it looks, and I think this whole cabin does look very, very high quality. I mean, I can't even truly say that it's nice for a Kia. It's really just nice for any car in general. It's very impressive what they were able to do at this price point, and then putting that performance behind it as well. You do have this aluminum piece right here, which is going to run all the way from this part of the steering wheel all the way across. I do love that little detail there, and the buttons feel very clicky, really nice. I love the resistance that they have to them. You're going to have dual zone climate control right here, and that is going to show up right there in the screen. And of course, your fan speed, your different zones, things like that. You've got more of this sort of faux brushed aluminum. I actually think this may be real aluminum right here. It feels very, very thick, really quality. You push that back, it has a very fluid feel to it. And then right in there, you're gonna have a wireless charging pad. You're going to have a USB for your Apple CarPlay, auxiliary port, and then a 12 volt right there to the left. And as you come back, you have this nice little shifter. I really like the way it feels. The leather quality up top is phenomenal. You've got this really solid aluminum piece to the side. Nice piano black here. You're gonna pull back to put it into drive, push forward to put it into reverse. Your backup camera comes up with a 360 view camera as well. And then of course you can go through and adjust all of your different views, and it just gets very helpful. I love the side views, especially if you're parking on a curve, or you can just go and use the 360 camera because that will help you as well. To put it into neutral, you don't press the button, you just pull backwards. I'm sorry, if you're in drive, push forward and that will put it into neutral. Button up will put you into reverse, and then P for park. Electronic parking brake right there. Automatic brake hold, different drive modes right here. So if I hit that, you guys can see here in the screen. Well, hopefully you can see here in the screen. If I turn left, it's gonna tell me I'm in comfort, eco, we have smart, and if you go all the way back, you're gonna have sport, and then you have your custom drive mode right there. The other thing is you do have your traction control right here. So you push that once to turn off traction. You push it and hold it, and that will turn off everything. And that's when you can really have some fun with this vehicle. Cup holders are great. You can fit a huge, like 50-ounce bottle of water in here, and it fits no problem, so you don't have to worry about that. Now coming down, I do love this rocker switch right here for your heated and cooled seats. So you guys can see that right there. 3 settings for cooled, 3 settings for heat. It's just so easy to use. I love how they manufactured that. And then you have the same thing over here to the right side. Now if I come up so you guys can see just a little bit, you're going to have your parking sensors right there. You're going to have your camera view, and then you're going to have your start stop, which I always turn off. I'm just not a big fan of start stop. Right back here, you're going to have a little bit of space there to put maybe some coins, your key, things like that. And then your armrest is really long, really nice, easy to put your arm on. So my arm fits very, very well, no issues right there. And if you lift that up, you are going to have some space right in there. Hopefully you guys can see that. It's pretty decent. You have a little area here to put smaller things. You can lift that out, and then you have a good amount of space in here. It's not very deep, but it is pretty wide, and you can get pretty much anything you would have to get inside of here. So that's pretty much it for the inside of there. Moving over here to the left, you are going to have an area there, nicely lined in felt, so it's not going to make a ton of noise with things rattling around in there or anything like that. Moving up, you have your mirror, which is going to have your home link right there. You've got your compass built in. It is auto dimming. Sunglass holder right there. LED lights. Moonroof. And it's pretty wide, as a matter of fact. It's a good size for sure, but it's 91 degrees, so we're not going to leave that open too long. And then you are going to have your vanity mirror right here with a light built in right there. It is going to be LED as well. But that's pretty much going to be it for the interior, or at least the front portion of the Stinger. Let's go ahead and hop in the back and check out the room. All right, so coming in the back seat of the Stinger GT. Now sitting back here, it's pretty decent. Now I have the front seat set to my driving position. I'm 6 feet tall. I've got about 2.5 inches of knee room, so it's not fantastic. My headroom is also pretty shallow because of that aggressive slope from the outside. It does cut out on my headroom just a bit. Now I do have about maybe half an inch above my hair. It is scraping in some parts, but if it weren't for my hair, I'd probably be pretty okay, especially if I were to slouch down a little bit. Now the seats are at a pretty upright position. I wish that the seats were back just a bit. Of course you can't adjust them. I just wish that the set position would be a little bit more reclined feeling. Now you can adjust the headrest to go up and down. You fold this down, you've got a really nice solid area to put drinks. Cup holders are very deep, so you don't have to worry about things rattling around too much. Mat pockets behind each seat. The middle hump here is very large. It's extremely tall, so you will not fit a third person back here, at least not comfortably. You've got some vents back here. You have a USB, and then you also have a 12 volt right there as well. Now, I'm not sure if you can see my feet because they're pretty down in here, but it is going to be easy to slide my feet in and out, no issues right there. And then coming back up here to the door, it has the same quality of materials as you do in the front. So that's very impressive. The same faux aluminum here, which looks really good. Your Harman Kardon sound system, red leather, and you are going to have heated seats on both outboard passengers back here as well. You have a grab handle, an area to hang up dry cleaning, LED lights, and it's pretty much going to be the extent of it. It's a pretty decent back seat. It's not as big as you guys would probably think it was looking at how large the Stinger is, but let's go ahead and see how the trunk space is. All right, so now getting into the back of the Kia Stinger GT is very, very easy. So let's say you had a few things in your hand. Make sure you have the key on your person. You just walk up behind the Kia, literally just stand here. And it'll open up. So it does about 4 beeps before it does open. But my favorite part about the Stinger that really separates it from every other sports sedan is that it's a lift gate, unlike a traditional trunk. So what that means is you can get things in the back with very little hesitation, very little things in the way, and it just makes loading things so much easier. And if you were to remove this cover, fold the seats down, you have a cavernous amount of space back here. It's one of the most practical sports sedans I think I've ever seen, unless you go to something like an Audi RS7 or any other vehicle like an Audi RS5 that has the lift gate as well. Now underneath the floor mat, you are going to have a little bit of area here, so you do have a spare, which is nice because most vehicles do not come with a spare anymore, so it is nice to see that right there. You don't have anything off to the side, but you do have little hooks here so you can put nets, so that way you don't have things rolling around, you don't hear it on the inside of the cabin. But it is definitely a very practical space, and then you just push this button right here for it to go back down. Let's see what's under the hood. All right, so coming under the hood of the Kia Stinger GT. Now the GT one does have the twin turbo 3.3 liter V6. This application is going to make 365 horsepower, 376 pound-feet of torque. Now the cool thing about this engine is that Kia does use it in multiple vehicles. So you even find this under the hood of the new K900, and Genesis uses it in a few of their cars as well. Now the cool thing about this twin turbo setup is that the torque does kick in at a very low RPM. You guys can see that here on the screen. And then if you look here under the hood, you're going to have these strut bars to keep everything nice and tight whenever you're handling and taking this thing around corners. Now this is an 8-speed automatic that this is bolted to. And this is actually going to be a dual clutch, which is really nice because it helps keep those shifts nice and crisp. And you can get this in all-wheel drive or rear-wheel drive. We have the rear-wheel drive version, so I'm very excited to get this on the road and see how this thing does. All right, so driving the Kia Stinger GT. Now, the very first thing you notice about this car whenever you drive it is the chassis on here is very impressive. And of course, since Albert Bierman helped design this chassis from the ground up, from birth, this was designed to be a sporty vehicle. It's not like you have a normal version of the Stinger, well, normal version of the Stinger, and then you have a super sporty version. Even the 2.0 turbo version is designed with that same rock solid chassis and that same awesome dynamic. So that's the first thing you notice when you get behind the wheel of this car. Everything's just very good. The steering for me is incredible, and that's where you can really feel a lot of the chassis doing its thing. And the fact that these seats keep you so well bolstered and well in place, you can really feel what all the tires and what all the, you know, everything is doing underneath you. It's really, really cool, and there's not a lot of vehicles that give you that just constant feedback. It's really cool. But first thing I want to do is test the handling on here. So I'm gonna throw it into its sport mode. I'm gonna hit the traction button. I'm gonna use the paddles. I'm gonna throw it into third gear, and it handles super well. And this thing books. It's so good. It is genuinely fast. All right, so more good news about this chassis is that because it's so well balanced, if this thing were to get sideways on you, it's super easy to control. Like, no hesitation at all. It's just, it gives you enough time to catch it, and it's just really well balanced. I'm so impressed with it. It's really good. So now what I'm gonna do is we're gonna test out the 0 to 60. So let's go ahead and check that out, and then I'll give you guys some more driving impressions after that. All right, you guys, so I'm going to do a 0 to 60 run. So I have all the traction control turned off. I've been driving around for a bit, so the tires should have a good amount of grip, so hopefully there's not a lot of wheel spin on the launch. And let's do it. And 60. Oh, not bad. So the first thing is that the ride is a little bumpy still in comfort. If I'm being super honest with you guys, it's still pretty bumpy. So, and you know that because whenever you drive with a passenger, like let's say I drive with my wife, I can see her in my peripherals sort of bouncing around and moving forward, moving backwards a lot. And that's me driving calmly and trying to drive like as smooth as I can. So it is pretty bumpy even in the comfort mode. But that's just to be expected with this kind of a vehicle. It really is. So no surprises there. But the one thing I do want to talk about is just the overall cabin layout. Everything's very actually ergonomical for what it is. The screen is a little bit of a reach, so you do have to kind of lean forward a little bit. Literally first world problem, so that's not a huge deal. Everything is super easy to get to. The toggle switches for the heated and cooled seats are fantastic, especially since it's been like 91, 92 degrees this entire week. So reaching for these cooled seats has been my #1 thing, and they do work very, very fast. Love the camera views. It's great when you're like parking on curves. It's great when you are like in a drive-through and you're trying to make sure you don't get too close to the person in front of you or anything like that. I love these vents. I feel like I get more air from these than I do these on the side. I don't feel like this one even does anything. That's why I love these circular vents. They're just so easy to position, and I wish they would have included that all the way throughout, like I mentioned earlier. Heads-up display is great. Works very well. It's easy to see, especially at night, surprisingly. At night, it actually is very helpful because it's so crisp, it's so clear. And for those of you who still think heads-up displays are a little bit distracting, just know that it's perfect, it's fantastic, it's not in the way at all. Love the steering wheel, love the steering feel, love the chassis feel. The mirrors could be a little bit bigger. They are a little on the small side, so you do have to rely on your blind spot a little bit more than I would feel comfortable with. The visibility out the back is not great. The window is pretty shallow, and I'd say it's about a step better than like a Camaro. It's not very good. You cannot see a lot out of the back window, which is surprising. I thought you would have a much better view out of the back. So there are things that are not great about this vehicle for sure, but no car is going to be perfect. One cool thing is if you throw it into eco mode, so if I'm in eco mode right now and I just lift off the accelerator, it actually goes into a coasting mode, so it actually decouples the transmission and it just coasts. So it's great on the highway if you're cruising, if you're taking long distance trips. But to end the video and to answer the question that I started this video off with for you guys, is this Stinger still a hype-worthy vehicle? Even though it's been a 1.5 years since it was unveiled and about a year since all the coverages came out, is this still a car to get excited about? And I think my answer to that is yes. I mean, if you want a vehicle that has a 100,000 mile warranty on it, it has an incredible amount of punch from that twin turbo. It has an incredible chassis, rear wheel drive with the option for all wheel drive if you don't want to get crazy, and just a beautiful interior layout, decent tech, and just an overall really beautiful look on the outside. I mean, looks are definitely subjective, so that is completely up to you guys. But let me know what you think. Vote up here in the top right hand corner. Let me know what you think about the Stinger, and then of course comment below. You know, me personally, I think I would be willing to pick this up. Now for the money, for around, you know, 52 grand or so, it is really up there. But at the same time, if this didn't have any Kia badges, I would not have an issue buying this at all. Just that stigma of being a Kia is definitely something that a lot of people need to get past, especially considering the products they've had in the past year. It's very, very impressive, and I do think you guys should give it at least a test drive and then decide from there. But thank you guys for watching. I hope this video was informative. I hope you maybe learned something you didn't know about the Stinger before. If you like this video, be sure to give it a thumbs up. Be sure to subscribe for more content, and then I'll see you guys next review. Y'all take care. Bye.